Guys, this is Houston Sports Talk back in the video today, and here we're going to be talking about the Brooklyn Nets potentially signing Jonathan Kuminga. The Golden State Warriors season ended last night in 5 games to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Without Stephen Curry, the Warriors lost 4 games in a row. Who knows how that series would have ended up, without Steph. But what we do know is it's off-season time for the Warriors. It's time to figure out what's next. I've figured out, with my favorite team, I've figured out you can't live in the past with playoff losses. This is not the first time the Warriors have had a playoff loss, and they'll try to bounce back. They've still got the greatest shooter in the world, one of the best point guards in basketball. They've still got Jimmy Butler. They still got one of the best defensive players in basketball, finished second place in Defensive Player of the Year voting. Do I think this Warriors team right now is a championship contender with the current roster they have? Absolutely not. But that doesn't mean they can't build it to be, because you've got assets. And the thing, that's one of the things I'm going to talk about in this video is, what they could potentially get in a sign and trade for Jonathan Kuminga, because we know the Brooklyn Nets have massive interest in signing Jonathan Kuminga this offseason. It's been reported. It was first reported earlier in the season. And so here's the bad thing for this Warriors team, I would say. There's the only bad thing, I think, with the way Jonathan Kuminga played in the final 4 games of that series, with how good he played. The only thing that I think it did, obviously, Kuminga looked great, and maybe it made the Warriors feel more good about him and what he can do in the future. But one thing it also did is make the Brooklyn Nets probably want him even more. And maybe even be more willing to pay him as much as money as they might. And there have already been reports before these playoffs about maybe the Nets, being, willing to pay him $25 million a year. That's something I didn't see the Golden State Warriors willing to do. And maybe $25 million is the most they'd go up to, but it's hard to pay a guy $25 million when you're paying Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green the money they are making. And honestly, if you were the Brooklyn Nets and you thought maybe the Warriors would match a $25 million offer, honestly, I could see the Nets going up to $28-30 million if they have to. That's if they have to, with the way we saw this kid play in the final 4 games of this series. He played game 1, I believe. Yeah, played game 1, didn't play much, only played 13 minutes, he only had a total of 7 points. But then as the games without Steph Curry, he starts to play more. At 18 in game 2, 30 in game 3, 23 in game 4, 26 in game 5. Played great basketball. The regular season, Kuminga played 24 minutes per game in 47 games, 15.3 points per game, 16.1 points per game. But it seems like the Warriors don't have that full trust in Jonathan Kuminga. Starting to sit him at the end of the season. The Warriors didn't play him in the last game of the regular season, which was a win or go to the play-in game for the Golden State Warriors. He didn't play in that final game against the Los Angeles Clippers. He didn't play in the play-in game against the Grizzlies. He barely played in the series against the Rockets. I think the only game he played against the Rockets was the game 2 where Jimmy Butler got hurt. And then, he only started to play when Steph Curry got hurt. It just doesn't seem like they fully trust him. I think the Brooklyn Nets would. I think part of the issue is Stephen Curry, that maybe you don't see the best of Jonathan Kuminga when Stephen Curry is out there. And I think we saw the best of I think we saw maybe what this could look like for Jonathan Kuminga in Brooklyn. If he's in Brooklyn, and what we saw these last 4 games is him having 18, 30, 23, and 26. So he can't be that number 1 guy in Golden State. He can't even be that number 2 guy in Golden State with Jimmy being there. So I think it'd make a lot of sense if Brooklyn went after him. We know that's coming. We know that Brooklyn is going to offer him. But I think if you're the Warriors, you try to take advantage of it. You try to get Cam Johnson in a sign and trade. It's been proposed already, and in off-season talks. Not between the, I don't know about between the 2 teams, but it's been proposed by like Bleacher Report has talked about it. Bunch of other sources have or websites have talked about a potential Cam Johnson, Jonathan Kuminga swap, and so I think that it could be an interesting deal. And the Warriors get a sharpshooter. I think Johnson fits very. I think he fits right into Golden State, which would be the interesting thing. So I think he might with Stephen Curry still being on the Warriors. I think Cam Johnson fits better on this Warriors team next to Jimmy and Steph than Kuminga does. But do you really want to waste more years of Jonathan Kuminga? Because I don't think you're going to see the best of Jonathan Kuminga in a Warriors uniform until Steph Curry retires. He's 22 now. Maybe he's 25 years old when Steph retires. That's saying Steph only plays 3 more seasons. And I don't know. No, well, he'll turn 23 before this season. So him turning 25, that's 2 seasons. So if Steph plays 3 seasons, are we going to see Jonathan Kuminga get the full keys to this team at 26? And it seems like in Brooklyn, maybe he can get the full keys now at 23. I'm just going to say 23. Yes, he is 22 now, but he's going to be 23 before the start of the season. So, but yeah, let me know your thoughts on the potential signing for the Brooklyn Nets in the comment section, and peace out.